All right. Well, thanks for coming. Today we're going to be going over open houses. Now, I've taken some time and done some Mike Ferry seminars, listened to a few different real estate coaches and trainers to kind of compile what everyone says into something that's not too over the top, where you'll be expending all of your time preparing for the open house instead of running your business for a week, but at the same time having similar results so that you can get the most out of it. Now, before I start, let me ask you a question. Who thinks that an open house is to get the listing sold? Is it more beneficial for the seller, or is it more beneficial for the broker doing it? Definitely for the broker. You're correct there. Okay. That is a big misconception, and so many would actually say it benefits the seller, where it does, it might, but really you benefit more than anyone else does. So we're going to go over some practices on best things that you can do for organizing your open house. First thing is, why do open houses? Buyers whom attend open houses are 72% more likely to make an offer on a home within 7 to 10 days than if you just show someone a property. So if they're out actively seeking homes, they're out actively interested in looking at properties, doing the due diligence on their own, they're much more likely to write an offer and purchase a property instead of just someone you're showing around, where you're kind of guiding them and being the chauffeur. Okay. The purpose of hosting an open house is not necessarily to sell the home like we did speak about, but it's mostly to sell the broker and their services. You can gain two types of customers or two prospects from hosting an open house: listings and buyers. Neighbors are nosy. They like to walk through each other's homes, so it allows you to prospect the neighborhood. And buyers, anyone coming in unrepresented or even represented, might like you better than their agent. Okay, so it's about marketing your services. Any lead that comes in was completely free to you. If you're advertising through Zillow or Realtor.com, your actual cost per contact is probably closer to between $100 and $200 per person. Anyone who walks in that door is interested in real estate, whether buying or selling now or in the future, okay? And they come at absolutely no cost. Buyers that are actively looking and walking through open houses are ready to buy now. They're not looking because they want to think about it in 9 months. Think about that. Someone driving down the street sees a sign that says open house and deviates from their plans to turn in and look at your open house. It's because they're actively thinking about buying. They won't change their plans from where they're going unless that is the case. Also allows you to prospect for potential sellers by engaging with the neighbors that are around you. It takes a little bit of legwork, but that is one of the biggest benefits of doing this. In addition, neighbors see that you're farming that neighborhood, you're working that neighborhood. It makes you more of a household name, recognized by them when you do go knock on the doors, when you do this in the future again, because you're ideally in your farming area going to do this multiple times in a calendar year, right? As you're preparing your open house, your schedule, your snacks, your decorations, your signage, everything, think about this from the customer's perspective. And think about this on a bigger scale. All businesses nowadays are thinking more about not necessarily what does it mean to our bottom line, but what is our customer experience going to be like? What is someone going to feel like going through the steps and buying something with us or working with us? How are they going to feel about our business? Are they going to be satisfied, raving fans, or are they going to be against us? That's really all it comes down to. Is it going to be a smooth process? Is it going to be comfortable, stress-free? Or am I going to make them jump through hoops? Who do you want to be? What kind of feeling do you want them to have? Tell your story. Okay, open house leads. Let's talk open house leads by the numbers. This stat was a lot lower than I expected. The average number of people that walk through an open house is 6. And this is Florida statistics from 2017. The average number is 6. How they got that, I don't really know. Okay, but that's what I'm going with. That's what was provided to me from Florida Realtors. From those 6 people, 3 leads are actually achieved. So 3 people, 50% on average, have representation. 3 people don't. 7% of these 3 leads convert within 90 days. So let's say you're doing 1 open house a week. That's 3 times 4 for the month, that's 12. 7%. So approximately 1 of those people that you acquired through open houses will close within 90 days. 10% will close within 6 months. Again, these are people that are active. They're actively looking, okay? Does anyone know the conversion rate on internet leads? It's between 1 and 3. Industry average is between 1 and 3. And you pay a lot of money to acquire those internet leads. So I'd much rather focus some efforts on open houses where it costs me much less and the conversion rate's much higher. 0, the total number of leads you'll get if you don't host an open house.
Hey, Jonathan?
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you want us to ask a question?
Go ahead and ask.
Okay, so is there anything there about the price range of a home for open house?
No, does not specify.
Doesn't matter.
I will tell you, hosting an open house for $1 million home, you're not going to get the walk-ins.
Okay.
You're just not. You need to market to a specific clientele if you're going to be doing that. You're not going to get people turning off the streets to go walk through $1 million home. And many of those communities also won't allow you to be able to do that. So think of your average home. I'd say from 150 to 800.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'd focus efforts. It's going to give you larger traffic.
Okay.
Okay. Do these all make sense? Yep. Of course they do. In fact, I think they're lower than I would have expected. I mean, I've hosted a few open houses where you have 25, 30 people come through. 6 was a very low number in my opinion. So we know why we want to host open houses. More leads, less cost, right? More leads, less cost, higher conversion. So let's talk about how we're going to do these. Think of an open house not necessarily as a task you have to complete, but it's an event. It's like planning a party. It's like planning a reunion, a barbecue. It's an event. There should be some excitement leading up to it, not only from you, because I've got these captive people coming in, I'm gonna keep them. No, it's building the excitement of those around. Make the neighbors excited about coming to look at this house because it's a unique opportunity. Not often would a homeowner say to the nearest 200 people that live around them, hey, I want you to come look at my personal home. I'm gonna leave. You can come walk through with some stranger. Thank you. I appreciate you coming to look through my house. That doesn't happen. They should be excited about this. Have you ever thought about I wonder what my neighbor's place looks like inside? Of course, it's human nature, okay? Jealousy drives our world, okay? We don't follow the 10 commandments, but we like to see what our neighbor's house looks like, okay? So it should be an event. You should be able to hype this up, and not only to yourself or the neighbors, but those around. Be excited about it. Be proud of what you're doing. Your open house signs. Yes, you can buy the $3 ones at Home Depot, which I've actually always done. But those who know me know I don't like to spend a lot of money. So I'm not going to say cheap. No, I don't like to spend a lot of money. I'd rather do what is simple for me and easy for me. Really, you should be going out and being proud of your signs. You should be proud to stick those in the ground. They should have your name. They should have your brand. They should have a balloon sticking out of them. Call attention to it. Be proud of it. Someone is much more likely to attend an open house that is a big, beautiful sign, colorful, or with a balloon, rather than the standard open house sign you buy at Home Depot. That is, unless I put 55 of them, one after another. Then they're going to say, okay, this is kind of a big deal. Okay. 7 days prior to the open house. That is when our preparation really starts. 7 days prior, okay? The first thing I will do is go on my Facebook business page, because I have one, right? And create a Facebook event. Much like you see on the closed Facebook group that we have. Anytime we're hosting something, if you want people to come, you create an event. What's that famous saying from the Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come. You don't put it up, they're not going to come. Facebook event. Next, Facebook advertisements. I believe very much in social media advertising, especially for open houses. Okay? You create your Facebook event. We'll go into more details about that in a minute. I'm not going to show you how to create a Facebook ad. There's a video on our website about how to create a Facebook ad. and I teach it every single month, so I really don't want to do it in every class. Watch the video about it. If you want to know more about social media advertising, I have 4 videos, a series of 4 videos on our website under either marketing and advertising or professional development. I think they're split 2 and 2 there. In addition, I do teach Get Social at the Board of Realtors every single month, alternated East Broward, West Broward. I'm doing it here at the end of November, which is kind of a compressed version of those 4 classes together. Okay. Video. That means go to the house and create a video of the house, right? No. Hype and excitement. Hype and excitement. Everything we do in our business is to create what? Relationships. Okay, I said excitement. I cheated. Okay. It's relationships. Okay. So in order to build a relationship with someone, you have to know what they look like. So don't be afraid. Get on there. Get on Facebook Live. Hold your phone out or have someone else hold the phone. Okay. Don't be too far away so they see all of your feet and your mannerisms and shaking your legs. No, it's be somewhat close up and speak to them. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to be something that is going to hype up the circumstance. Maybe give something away. Maybe give $500 back at closing if you see the open house and buy the home. Something like that. Create some hype, create some excitement to go, okay? Create postcards or flyers. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Collect signage. I talked about that regarding the open house signs, whether you get them from Home Depot or get the branded personalized ones, get something. And you're going to need a lot of them. A lot. I mean, more than 15. So get a lot of them.
For one property?
You want to have 15 of them, not for each individual property, but you should have at least 15 of them, which you use for any property. They're going to pick them up, but for each house, I want to have at least 15, and I'm going to explain why. But if you're going to buy some nicer branded ones, get a few of those and then get a bunch of the Home Depots. The idea is leading them down a path to the home. Think if you have 4 or 5 turns in a community before you actually get to the home. You'll need a lot of signs, okay? So this is just preparing, make sure you got your signage. If not, get it ordered so it's ready before the open house. And then map out your foot plan. Your foot plan, did I mean floor plan? No, I meant foot plan. I'll explain that in a minute. Let's go through them one by one. We talked about the Facebook event. Use your business page, your Facebook business page. When you are creating that event, use a really nice, beautiful cover photo, high resolution image that you have of the home. Ideally, it'd be the outside shot. If the outside curb appeal is not very nice, maybe use the pool, maybe use the renovated kitchen. If your house is completely dreadful, use an overhead shot. Okay, but it needs to be a big, colorful, high-resolution image. Okay, promote that event. You have a couple different options. You can either create a specific open house advertisement with a carousel of photos, depending on the property. Okay, if you have a lot of nice photos, use that carousel, as customers can scroll through, and Facebook's algorithm will say more people clicked on image number 7 than image number 2. They will automatically move image number 7 to the front. Okay, so it benefits you. Okay, then the last one, building hype and excitement, the fear of missing out, right? FOMO. Countdown timer. Add a countdown timer to your Facebook event. There's an app. I put the URL on the bottom. apps.facebook.com/page-countdown. That will place a countdown timer on your Facebook event, counting the days, hours, minutes, seconds until your event. So kind of neat there. And that will change on your ad as it goes out if you're promoting the event as well. You need me to go back? apps.facebook.com/page-countdown. /Jonathan. No, I'm kidding. Okay, a Facebook ad.
This will be on our K company.
What was that?
This will be on our K company.
Yes, I'm recording this. Your question about recording was just recorded. Okay, Facebook ads. You have 2 different options really here for running Facebook ads regarding your open house. You can either do a completely independent ad, which would look like this over here. It would have the name of your page, description of the open house event tips, and then you'd have your carousel of photos. This is a photo carousel. That is one way to do that. And then creating your audience for the open house. Who would you think you want to market the open house to as it relates to Facebook? Because you can really narrow that down and zero in on exactly what you want. People that exhibiting behaviors likely to move? Yes, okay, yes, maybe. But I want to bring in as many people as I possibly can because I want to create this big net where I can just grab people up and try and bring them in. And as I'm trying to bring them in, they will filter out. So to be honest with you, I'm putting absolutely no filter whatsoever except for within 5 or 10 miles of the property. So you can go type in the address, drop a pin directly on the property and say within 5 miles, 6 miles, 7, 8, 9, 10, depending on how widespread the properties are individually. So let's say your home is in a community just outside of Orlando, but there's nothing outside that little development. I'm going to take that scope a little bit larger and maybe go 10, even 12 miles to really get a reach of 10, 20, 30,000 people so that it pops up on all of them. It's not going to bring 10, 20, 30,000 people to your open house. But if you can capture one out of every 100 that look at it, you're talking more along the lines of 15 to 30, okay? Every open house can use an additional 15 to 30, right? It's another way to be in front of people within the geographic range of the home. And then an open house invite is the other option. So instead of doing this actual invite itself, the post about the open house that you're creating as an ad, you can take your actual event and boost your event. So the Facebook page, your business page event that you had created with your fancy countdown timer, you can boost that event specifically instead of creating a separate ad. So those are the two options. Recommendation on the first time you're doing it, do both and see which one is more beneficial with the method that you use to create them. Okay? It might cost you $10 behind each one, but highly worth it. I know people have spent more money in delivering postcards door to door than $20 in spending two advertisements at 10 each, okay? Video, I touched on that very briefly, okay? We talked about Facebook Live, was the first one. Don't be afraid to open your camera, open your phone, and just speak to the camera. A couple other options. When you list the property, if it's your own listing, you can utilize a virtual tour that is provided into the MLS link. Maybe you used a company like AccuTour and they gave you a video virtual tour. You can utilize that. Maybe they gave you a Matterport tour. You can utilize the link from the Matterport tour. It won't look as nice on social media or when you email it out, but it will be very impactful once they do actually look at it. And then the other option would be a drone. If you have a drone or you had a drone video shot, that is really, really impactful. Just picture that fancy shot when it's really up high in the sky and just comes crashing down, zooming down, almost crashing, down to the front of the home. Those are really impactful and get people really excited with that nice little trendy music behind it, right? Video is so much more impactful than than still images. Got my lunch hangover going. So make sure you're utilizing video in your advertisements if you have that capability. Where do you get drone stuff inexpensively? I'm sorry, Irina, I don't really have good shopping advice for you in that sense. I have seen some pretty decent drones in a few $100 price range. You don't have to go all the way up to $1,000, $1,500, but they are much more susceptible to breaking and need better, more optimal flying conditions. So do your research as far as it goes with drone acquisitions when you're buying one, or speak with a drone company who does drone photography already and ask them for their recommendations. The best bang for your buck that I've seen was about $750, and it was called the Phantom. I don't really remember. I would not consider myself a drone expert whatsoever, but if you happen to find a good resource, I'm happy to do that. Marcelo asked if there are any FAA requirements to fly drones. If you're doing it commercially, yes. If you're doing it for personal use, no. So if you're gonna go take your own pictures of your own property, you're probably okay, as long as you're not close to the airport. If you're going to go fly around downtown Fort Lauderdale, you might have an issue. Here we go. Okay, postcards and flyers. Has everyone seen the resources tab on our website yet? Yes? The top part of it has social media templates. The middle has marketing, customizable marketing materials. This is a postcard created from the customizable marketing materials. I did it in like 3 minutes. That's why it's orange. I don't like orange. Okay? It's very, very easy to do. Drag and drop a photo, automatically has a template here, include your time and date of the actual open house, the address, and your information on the back end. You can either hand deliver those, mail them with Every Door direct mail, and you can do either a postcard or an actual printed flyer. If you're going to go door to door, a flyer might be a little bit better because if they're not home, you can roll it up and put it on the door. With a postcard, they're a little more challenging to stick on the door. Don't go put it in their mailbox. Do not put it in their mailbox. I'm not an attorney, but I know that's a federal crime. So don't do that, okay? Getting these printed out is very, very simple to do. Local printing company. Locally here, we recommend Minuteman Press, but there are many, many, many different options. You can utilize Vistaprint if you've done it in enough time. You can utilize Office Depot. It doesn't matter. You're looking to get a few hundred of these. That is the main point. Collect your signage. These are the fancy signs, not the Home Depot ones. You want to start collecting your signage, okay? If you have one, great. Pick it up, take it to the house, and stick it in front of the house. But make sure you have a space to write on there when the open house is, so nobody's knocking on the door for the next week, okay? Mapping out your foot plan.
I have an open house writer,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got the blank from too.
Even better.
And I have this reusable sticky numbers. I put that on usually 3 or 4 days before.
Okay, so Deborah has a sign rider that goes on a general real estate sign. So it hangs, the rider sign hang, you put it above, okay. And it says open house from, does it have a date or just time?
Just like Sunday, blank to blank.
With peel and stick letters? So that's nice, that's a nice little add-on.
South Florida, and they sell the sticky numbers.
That was from South Florida Sign Company. That was from South Florida?
Yeah. That's really handy.
The rider hails from Pembroke Pines.
Where I used to take a big marker and tape it on there and peel it off.
No, great point. Great point. That's a nice feature. Absolutely. So if you have a real estate sign, that's when it's your listing primarily. Okay. What I'm covering is open houses, whether it's your listing, a company listing, an MLS listing, or a for sale by owner. I'm trying to cover open houses in general. If it's your listing, that's awesome. And you can have it on there for a week. If it's someone else's listing, just clear it with them and you can put it on there as well. That's a great one to have. I bet that was like 20, 25 bucks. There's a group on. Nice. Okay, so map out your foot plan. What I mean by that is take a look at the map of the area, of the community. Draw a point over the house. From there, estimate 100 to 200 homes in the nearest vicinity. Go down different roads, community across the street, next door. Your target is 100 to 200 homes. And you're going to take your color flyer or your color postcard and you're going to go and knock on those doors. Okay? If you've created postcards or heavy color flyers you want to put in the home, create a separate one and just print this at home. And what you're looking to include on that is a special invite, VIP viewing for the local neighbors. And the idea is to try and bring them in at a different time because realistically, these people are not going to buy the home. They're not, unless they're a renter. Most likely, you're trying to hit them prospecting for a future listing. So you want to bring them in at a different time when you can devote more personal attention to building a relationship with them. Think about this. It's more along the lines of building a relationship and farming this neighborhood. You're trying to build a relationship with them for whether they sell now or a year from now. That needs to be your mentality. Too many realtors get stuck with the, I'm trying to sell this house now, as opposed to building a relationship and planting the seed for a future transaction. 3 or 4 days before the open house, you'll go into the MLS. If it's your listing, you'll go into the MLS. And if it's not your listing, ask the listing agent to do this, to go on there and add the open house information. All MLSs allow you to do this. Flex, Matrix, they all have this feature built into it. So you'll place it on there. In addition, you will also place the information on the public remarks of the listing. Open house Sunday, 9 to 4. Open house Saturday, 10 to 2. Whatever it might be. Include that. Why would you want to include that?
To get other respectful agents. Agents will know about it, and then also the general public.
All that information syndicates. Okay, so wherever you include that, even if you just add the open house details, not necessarily in the public remarks, just the details, that publishes on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Hot Pads, Open, Homes.com. It publishes all that information across the board. So you really, really need to put it in there. Okay. It could bring realtors and their customers, but for the most part, it's going to hit the public. Okay. In addition, queue up an email blast. An email blast. You have a couple different options. You can either send an email blast to realtors if you're trying to sell your own listing, but if you're doing this on a property that is not your listing, an email blast is to your database. It's an excuse to reach out to your prior contacts. Is it likely they're going to buy that house? Probably not, but it's another reason to stay in front of them, showing them you're busy. You're in the business, you're knowledgeable, you know what you're doing, you're constantly doing this stuff. And it could pique their interest to saying, oh, I'm selling my house. I forgot about you, Karen. Great, I'm so glad you called or you reached out. Okay? Okay. Flag or sign at the property. Deborah, I know you've got one of these. So in the bottom right corner here, I'm showing you a picture of an open house sign. And these are incredibly cheap. I was surprised how cheap they were. Okay. They ranged anywhere from $25 to $85, the ones that I saw. There were some nicer ones, but just from a local printing company in Boca I walked into, they had one there and it was $55, like exactly like that one. Actually, I stole that picture from their website. So placing something at the property. What is the reason behind that? Again, building excitement. It's coming. Making them think about it. Someone who might not drive by and be able to look at it today will think about it as it's coming this weekend. Nobody hosts an open house during the week. So you're going to put that up during the week, 3 or 4 days before the open house, and they're going to see other signage around. They'll drive by and see your rider that says Saturday 10 to 2. Okay. You're going to go knock on 100 to 200 doors, and that is 3 or 4 days before the open house. Okay. Evening time, 5, 6, when people are coming home, go knock on a bunch of doors, have some conversations. The reason I say 3 or 4 days is you're not going to go do 200 doors in a day. Not realistic. 5 to 6:30, 5 to 7. And if you're a female, don't go by yourself. Take someone else with you. Maybe go with a partner. Split the open house with another agent. Take your husband, take your boyfriend, find some guy on the street. Don't care. Don't go by yourself. Okay? Ask your broker. Bring your dog. But good luck trying to fit it in my calendar. Okay. Next, we created a video on our Facebook, whether it was Facebook Live or we had a professional video or we have a drone video, and we'll boost that post. Again, geographic area. The key is to try and hit different people or the same people multiple times because it will change their mentality about it. Okay. List your event on, I have to move this, southfloridaopenhousesearch.com. Has anybody ever been to that website? It's a fairly new website. It's about 6 months old, and it was created by the Miami Association of Realtors. It covers homes all up and down Florida. southfloridaopenhousesearch.com. and prepare your seller. What do you mean by prepare your seller? Whether it's your listing or someone else's listing, I want to provide them a checklist that says, before the open house, I need you to do this. Help me help you. Because they think it's exposure to sell their house, where in reality, it's benefiting you more than them. And what do you want them to do? What are you asking them to prepare? You're asking them to put away their valuables, clean up, don't make some stinky dinner the night before. Things along those lines, okay? You want them to help you clean up the house. Needs to show at its best. And post it on Craigslist. Yes, I said that. And that says 3 to 4 days before, but I would also do it again the day of.
What about offer up and let go?
Can you post open houses on them? I don't believe you can. If you posted what, I'm sorry? For sale, not the open house. That's marketing a listing. I'm talking about an open house right here. Are you going to be, you can't post open houses on Let Go and Offer Up. You can post a unit for sale, for rent, whatever, but you can't do an open house on there. You can if you're part of the next door for that neighborhood, but you may not be on the next door for all of your properties, all of these properties. So if you are a member of it, absolutely post it on Nextdoor. If you're not, if you know someone who is, ask them to post it. But it's unlikely to think that everyone is going to be on all of them. You can ask the seller to post on there if the seller is somewhat tech friendly. Okay. I did touch on this a little bit, updating on the MLS and creating email blasts. Make sure you're putting it into the syndicated remarks, like the public remarks, and listing the open and close dates. We did mention Let Go, Offer Up, and Nextdoor. However, Let Go and Offer Up will not allow you to post the open house, only the property for sale or for rent. Nextdoor would allow you to post the actual event itself and advertise it so that anyone logging into the Nextdoor app in that neighborhood could see it as a banner going across the top. Nextdoor advertising is something that's growing quite a bit. And as that develops more, we'll have more training and advice on how to utilize that. But it has not had very good results as of yet on a larger scope. It's working for some people, but not many people. Open house information, make sure you do that on the MLS if it's your listing, or ask the listing agent to do that. And a few recommendations for an email blast. If you're going to be doing it to other realtors because it is your listing, Property Blast Homes or Forward My Listing are tried and true. Anybody have any other recommendations for email blasts? MailChimp, but that's to your database. I'm talking to the public or realtors. If it's your listing, you're okay marketing this to realtors because you want exposure any way, shape, or form. If you're doing it to the public, these services only go to registered realtors.
I always put it directly on realtor.com and Zillow, and that's when I have the posts.
Directly as well?
Even though it's posted on the MLS, like syndicate, I had houses the first thing they didn't know neighbors. How come you didn't vote? I said,
Well, you should have knocked on their door.
And then it said, and then I said, well, I did
Still knock on their door.
And then nobody ever saw it on Zillow.com. So ever since that happened last summer, every single time I post a few days before, I get the most.
So in addition to posting the actual information on the MLS, you also went to Zillow and Realtor directly and logged in, claimed the listing, and placed the open house information on there. Absolutely. Why not? It's supposed to.
Well, you have to do public and
You have to do it in the public remarks, and you have to go into, like, you're editing the listing and do open house. But you can only do it if it's your listing. I believe it's the same on Realtor.com and Zillow if you're trying to log in there. It has to be your listing in order for you to modify it. Correct. Those are only to realtors. So you'll want to do those if it's your listing. If it's not your listing, you're going to hit your database. 100 to 200 doors. Door knocking, inviting the neighbors for a VIP time, only for people who live here. And you can either hand them the flyer or a visual postcard, depending on what you have. If you're trying to keep it simple, you're just starting off, take a picture of the home. your information, open house, details, VIP invite, 1 hour only. That's it. Granted, you're not going to turn them away if they're outside that hour, but ideally you'd like to have them in that hour to devote some more attention to these people, because they are a longer term investment for your time. They are building a relationship for a possible listing in the future. Farming your name in that neighborhood. Before. Yeah. Some people even recommend the night before.
Hey, Jonathan,
Like
could
a
you
wine and cheese VIP kind of deal. Go ahead, Sharon.
Could you repeat some of what we can't hear it, or at least I can't, when the people are talking in the background?
Sure. I apologize. I meant to do that. The question was, do you recommend doing the VIP hour before or after the general open house? And I said before. Some even recommend the night before and go above and beyond with it. Bring a few bottles of wine, some cheese, some brie, some crackers, things like that. But for me, I don't really want to take that time and do 2 days for one open house. I'll do the hour before. And if I'm doing a 10 to 2 open house, I might do 10 to 11 as the VIP, 11 to 2 as the general open house. And I'll bring like champagne and orange juice, do mimosas or something. Alcohol always attracts people. Just ask any realtor, right? Okay, so you've done a little bit of marketing outside. You've posted on the MLS, on Zillow, Realtor.com, etc. You've got a few signs up. You've knocked on 200 doors. You're getting people excited and hyped up to come walk through this stranger's house. Now you need to prepare. You need to print yourself a sign to put on the door, an entrance sign. So when they walk up, they know they're in the right place. You need to create yourself a sign-in sheet. What's important to have on the sign-in sheet? Telephone number, email, social media. Okay, that's a new one. I wouldn't have put that. I like it though. What are you asking for? Their social media username or what outlet they use? Their username for the social media account. Okay. I like it. That's a pretty good one, especially nowadays, right? Especially if it's like a first-time home buyer kind of property, you'll get the millennial crowd, and I love that. That's great. You can ask them for the social security number. I'm just kidding. You can ask them are they planning on buying or selling in the next 6 months?
I like to find out how they heard about it. Did they just happen to drive by, or was it?
How they heard about it. Absolutely. And the last item, which nobody mentioned, their name. You can get their social media, and I guess you get your name through that. Maybe their email address has their name in it, but you need their name. So name, phone, email, social media outlet if possible, whether they plan to buy or sell in 6 months, and how they heard about it. That's a lot of information though. So give them some options. Maybe you want to take that down. If it's a first-time home buyer, gear more towards the social media and the phone number because they're going to want to text. They're not going to want an email. If it's an older crowd or mid, then you want to go more email, phone, and take off the social media. Things like that. But create a sign-in sheet. Okay. Printed color flyers we talked about. Something that many people don't think about is you have these property flyers with information about this property, but how does that compare to properties around? A comparable sheet. Printed flyer and a comparable sheet. How does this home compare price-wise to those in the area? That might help sell this home, but also keeps the conversation going, builds the relationship, and furthers their confidence in you as an agent. If you're showing them comparables and giving them an honest opinion, yes, this home's actually overpriced, but look, here, there's 2 down the street. When do you want to go see those? You're furthering the relationship. You're trying to create a dialogue, okay? Business cards, I think that goes without saying. Water bottles or snacks as desired. Not every open house has to be a 4-course buffet. Doesn't have to have snacks and drinks. Some of them just need bottled water. Okay, keep it simple. If they're going for the food, they're there for the wrong reasons and wasting your time. If they go for the mimosas, loose lips sink ships. Get them liquored up. They might buy the house. Anyhow, possible financing sheet from a lender. Perhaps an information sheet from your local lender, in-house lender, things along those lines that could give them an idea of what the interest rates are now, what programs are available now, if this home would qualify FHA or VA, things along those lines.
Will our recycle guy do those?
Yes, AMP will provide that to you if you ask him. If your open house is local, he will actually go by there with open house flags and post for you on his social media as well. So work with the in-house lender, absolutely. Offer prepared. Write up a contract with the name and the price and the terms blank. Address, seller's name, ready to go. You never know. I've sold a house at an open house before. It's happened. Definitely crazier things that happen in real estate. Any questions about these? We're going in further. A buyer will purchase a home because they fall in love with it every time they open the door. If your buyer walks in and just loves the home or just finds something new or finds that comfort level every time they open the door, they're buying that house. I don't care who's there. They're buying it. So it's, again, think customer experience. When they walk in the door, how will they think? How will they feel? The day of your open house, before you go to the house, take some of those color flyers. Stop at your Starbucks. Stop at Pete's Coffee House. Stop at whatever coffee shop or local breakfast place, because you're usually doing your open house in the late morning. If you're doing it early afternoon, think lunch spots. Go post your flyer there. Big yellow highlighter across the top. Today, today, today. Go stick it in different coffee houses and spots that are local to the home itself. Again, you're trying to drive additional exposure, brings more people to the house. More people to the house brings you more leads. Okay? Sweat equity instead of paying money. Okay? Get there early for that private VIP preview that you mentioned. Arm yourself with your banana. Strategically place open house signs. What I mean by that is you did your foot plan. You took a dot, you dropped it on where the house was and looked at the road routes that lead by that house or near that house. Pick a large street, a lot of traffic, open house with balloons, go out there. One at each corner, driving into the house. Sometimes even more than that. One or more at each road and turn leading up to the house as well. If you have 15 of them, use all of them. There's no point in keeping them in your car. Put them all out. If you don't want to spend buy 15 signs at the higher price point, use a mix of the Home Depots and a mix of the personalized ones.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hold on one second. I've got a question here. So you did an open house and they had one of the guys with the headphones that were dancing and flipping the signs? Those are awesome. Those are awesome. I love those guys. I always stop and say hi to them. I think they're funny. So it was $25 an hour for the guy waving the sign. That's a pretty neat one. If you can find that the resource or where they found someone, I'd love to get that. But at the same time, you need to give them a sign. So what sign are they going to hold? So he had a big open house sign and he paid somebody to twirl it? Okay. But that definitely helped with attention. I agree. Sharon, go ahead.
Yeah, would you address this thing about, where to put the signs, what's legal to put those signs? Because we've seen people, take the open house signs away. We've seen the police take them away.
Great question. So every city has different local ordinances on where you can and cannot put the signs. If you're iffy about if you can, so inside of a community, you're probably okay putting them in the swale. You're not going to have much of an issue for the 4 hours that it's out there, or 5 hours that they're out there. But if you're talking major public roads, if you're not sure, place the cheaper Home Depot signs there. So you're not worried about losing, your $35 open house sign. There are some cities like Wilton Manors, for example, which passed a local ordinances that you can have up to 4 open house signs in public roadways between the hours of 9 and 5. But once 5 o'clock rolls around, if you haven't picked them up, they're picking them up. So check with your local city regarding their policies on open house signs. They're available. Just call the city and code compliance.
Okay.
Don't park in the driveway when you get to the house. You're pulling up, don't park in the driveway. Be the person that's pulled up alongside of the road. So when someone's at the house, they're pulling into the driveway, they're comfortable, and it looks much busier. Somebody else wants to come, okay, there's a lot of people here. Again, building the hype, building the excitement, okay? Set out flyers, business cards, and any food or drinks that you may have. Set those into a centralized place of the house. For example, the kitchen counter or the dining table if it's furnished. Okay, your sign-in sheet does not go with everything else. Your sign-in sheet should be close to the entrance. If there's no table near the entranceway, bring a table with you. Get one of those little 4-foot plastic fold-out tables. Stick that about 6 feet into the front entrance, and that's where your sign-in sheet goes, and that's where you go. You're going to be there. We'll go over that in a second. I always loved getting some helium balloons blown up, putting one on each open house sign and then some at the front of the house as well. They're inexpensive and they do cause attention because South Florida, the wind's blowing a little bit and they're going all over the place. Dollar store, absolutely. Here's a few things to remember. I touched at this a moment ago. The sign-in sheet and table should be a few feet from the front door, ideally creating a barrier from when someone walks into the property and just prohibits them from walking straight through. It's the first thing they see, okay? You're a professional, you're being left in charge of this home. You have the right to allow or deny access to anyone that comes up. You're taking responsibility for these people walking through the house. So you have the right to refuse to allow someone in, okay? Remember that you could be potentially auditioning for potential sellers, so carry yourself in that way. If a buyer does not sign in, again, you have the right to not allow them inside. If they're not going to cooperate with filling out the sign-in sheet, you don't want them as a customer. Imagine how they're going to be in the future. Set the scene. Picture yourself. Buyer's experience, customer experience. When they walk in, it should be nice and welcoming, bright, not dark. Smell nice, not nasty. Be clean and organized. They need to be able to picture themselves living there. And if all they're doing is looking at the clutter and the dirt and the mess and the nastiness, they're not picturing themselves there. They're acquiring a bunch of ammo to go home and tell all their friends, God, I walked through this gross open house. Make sure the sellers put away all their prescriptions. It's the society we live in today. Money, guns, jewelry, and anything else that could grow legs and walk away. Put your cell phone away. Right now, Tish. No, put your cell phone away while you're at an open house. Put it in your bag, move it to the side. Don't ever be sitting there caught looking down at your phone instead of engaging with the people around you. Bring your laptop. That's fine. Have your laptop open. When you have downtime between people at the house or before they start showing up, you can be looking at stuff on your computer, answering emails, contacting previous customers, searching the MLS, familiarize yourself with the market, what's available now, what's sold. So when someone's walking through and they ask you, how does this compare with what properties are going for in the neighborhood? Don't get caught there like, I don't know, I'll get back to you. No, you want to be armed with that information. Be knowledgeable about the general area, okay? Get contact information. Oh, we've got a question. Would I use one of those iPad apps to sign in? Yes. So you can either use an actual physical sheet or have a tablet with an open house registration app. There is one called Open Home Pro, which is listed on our resource tab all the way at the bottom of the page. I believe a few of the local realtor associations also have free alternative methods. Open Home Pro is one of them. Get contact info from every prospect that walks in. The point of the sign-in sheet is not only to grab their contact information, but let them know that you're the one in charge of the home at that time. Okay, when they come in. When they come in and they're not willing to sign in that sign-in sheet, refuse them access, turn them away. What would I say? I'm sorry, I can't allow you in. That's what I would say. I mean, I would probably say some other words, but to keep it professional, I would say, I'm sorry, I can't allow you in. Why not? You don't want me to look through the house? Well, the seller would like a record of anyone who walks through the home. Wouldn't you want the same? Then it either makes sense and they fill it out, or they get pissed off and they walk away. Oh, well, not my problem. Don't really care if they walk through at that point. After the lead, so let me ask you a question. How many of you have hosted an open house before? Okay, most. All right. When you are at an open house, do you follow the customer around the home and answer their questions? Do you?
I personally, it depends. But sometimes you get a feel that they want you to walk. And if it's a couple, I let them do their thing. I guide them. I say, hey, when you're done, we'll go everything. But when they're done, I say, hey, you have any questions? Blah, blah, blah. If it's they're by themselves, they're already asking me questions, then I will go with them and we tend to have a conversation. But I kind of get a feel for the person. Me personally, when I go to open house, before I don't like to walk behind me.
It's kind of like going to a department store and the salesperson follows you around. I leave the store because they're following me around. Same thing at an open house. When they come in, you're having a few words with them while they're signing in. Okay, trying to get their motivation of why they're there. If they're conversational and personable, you can go along, but don't be right up against them. For example, they go upstairs, go to the top of the stairs. Let them walk into the rooms. Okay? If you feel at all sketchy about who the person is, you always have the right to refuse access. But even more so, if you feel uncomfortable with the person or you think that there's something shady there, follow them. You're responsible.
So that is, most of us are not going to have somebody else at an open house with us. I think it's big and important to have your cell phone on you. God forbid.
Yes and no, depending on the circumstance.
There's nobody around.
If you're by yourself, it's a safety thing, but don't spend your time on your phone. I get that. Here's my sales pitch. Get a smartwatch. They have the same emergency feature. And you're never taking it off and you're not going to be sitting here playing on your watch. Cell phones are distracting, incredibly distracting. What's the number one problem we have with traffic accidents other than drunk driving? It's texting. It's using your cell phone. Even though we know it kills people, we know it's more dangerous. We know we can hurt ourselves. We know we can hurt people around. We still use it. What about giving them a grand tour? Unless the house has some crazy feature that you really need to make it known, I'm not following them around and giving them a grand tour. I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to picture themselves in the home. I don't want them to know it from my perspective. I want them to know the house on their own. However, if there is a unique feature, like let's say it's an island stove and the vent fan actually comes up electric at the back end of the stove, or maybe it has a waterfall that turns on and goes over the sink or something unique, then when they get to that point, you go show it to them. You don't follow them around. You don't need to follow them into bedroom 1, bedroom 2, bedroom 3. It makes people uncomfortable. But if they're conversational, if they're social, feel free to continue the conversation and stay close. When they're done looking around the home and they're getting ready to leave, before they get to the door, and what I don't mean is when they reach for the handle before they get there. No, it's as you can tell when someone's getting ready to wrap up and leave, okay? It means they finished their mimosa and they put the cup down. Ask them, so what did you think about blank? In this case, I used the floor plan. What did you think about the layout of the home? Maybe the home has no bedrooms downstairs and 3 bedrooms upstairs. What did you think about the separation of bedrooms? How would it work for you guys? Ask for a response. You want a response. What did you think about the color of the paint? What did you think about the countertops? What did you think about the bathrooms? What did you think about the popcorn ceiling? What did you think about whatever? You want to get a response and not a yes or no. Did you like the popcorn ceiling? You don't want to ask a yes or no question. You want to get an opinionated response, okay? When they respond, anything is positive. Whether it's a positive comment or a negative comment, it's a positive comment to us. Because if it's negative, it means they actually genuinely took the information or looked at the layout as it would apply to them. Now I can find them something else. Well, it's great. I'm glad you told me that. This home's not right for that, as you can tell. However, there's a home down the street because you know the farming inventory, right? There's a home down the street where it does have that. When would you like to look at that? Setting yourself an appointment, building off of that relationship you're making. They're getting your knowledge of the business, they're getting your knowledge of the inventory, and build off of it. If they just shrug their shoulders and walk out, it didn't matter what you said, they were going to do the same thing. But you're trying to spark the conversation. You're trying to gain some interaction with them, okay? So what did you think about the floor plan? Oh, I wish it had a bedroom downstairs. Great. This one doesn't, but I'm glad you shared that information with me. There's another home in the area that does have that feature. Let me send it to you right now. What's the best phone number? I can text you that listing right now. Oh, I don't like texting. Okay, what's your email? I can send it to you. When would you like to see it? Do you have time tomorrow? Do you have time at 5? I'm done here at 2. I could probably get us in there by 5. You're building, you're continuing to further the relationship. If you just let them walk out and don't say anything, you've lost everything. If you say something and they reject it, you've lost nothing. But you had the opportunity. What if you get to the door and they don't want to sign in? Hey, welcome to my open house. My name is Jonathan Lickstein from the K Company Realty. The seller's asked that I just get a list of everyone who's walked through the home. If you could please sign in. No, we don't want to sign in. Okay. I'm sorry, but I have to ask you to do that. It lets sellers know I'm doing my job with a smile. And then one of those, right? Kind of just a friendly nod right back to it. No, we really don't want to sign in. We don't want to give you the information. We would just like to walk through if that's okay. No, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to bother you. But you have to understand why the owner wants the record of people walking through the home. This is their house. You would want the same, right? Of course they're going to say yes. They're not going to say no. No, I would let anybody walk through the home. I don't need to know their name. All right, well, I'll bring Bobby Ray from down the street. He's asking for quarters at the traffic light. I'll bring him over. He can walk through. You don't need to know who he is, right? No, of course they need to know who he is. Now, if they absolutely refuse to sign after everything you've tried, don't let them in. Don't let them in. They're not going to give you their name. They're not going to give you their contact information. What's the point? You're doing this for a reason. There's no point in letting these people in. Immediately after the open house is completed, obviously take a walk around the home. Close all the doors and windows, turn off the lights you turned on, turn off that nice, sweet, soft music you had playing, not the Guns N' Roses, and return the home to exactly how it was when you found it, especially if it's not your listing. Especially, you need to keep that relationship with the listing agent or the homeowner whom allowed you to do that because it was to your benefit. Not every open house will be a huge success, but it has a lingering effect. Well, if you do an open house correctly, even if you got 0 leads from it, you did farm your name, you did put yourself out there, and you did speak with 200 people by walking around the neighborhood. Guess what? The next time you walk around, they're going to know you as that realtor who hosts open houses. That's not a bad brand to have when they want to go sell their house, is it? Now, if it was not your listing, contact the listing agent and give them a report about how it went. How many people came through, constructive feedback, and let them know. Again, furthers that relationship and makes them also look good. They're able to turn around and call the seller and say, hey, we just had an open house. My colleague, Deborah, hosted the open house. We had 27 people walk through. Here's some of the feedback that we got. Period. Makes them happy, makes you happy. Everybody looks good. If everybody looks good, they're happy to let you do it again on that property and other listings itself. Continue the relationship. If it was your listing, call the seller directly. They want to hear that feedback, whether they ask you for it or not. They want to know. Even if you had 1, they still want to know. I only had 1 person come in. However, I turned 4 away that wouldn't sign in. Why did you turn them away? Why didn't you let them walk through the house? Because I'm never going to put your property at risk for someone who's uncooperative. And they will love you for that. They might hate you because you only had 1 person come through, but they will love you that you're protecting their asset. and they will believe that you're on their side and operating in their best interest. When you leave, regardless if you speak with the listing agent or seller, regardless, doesn't matter. Leave a handwritten note in the house, unless it's vacant. If it's vacant, nothing, don't worry about it. If it's occupied, leave a nice handwritten note. Thank you very much for the opportunity to host an open house in your home. I'm hopeful we sell it together. However, I'm grateful for you entrusting your home with me, period. Picture yourself as a homeowner, as a seller, trying to sell their home, and a realtor left that for you. How does that make you feel? Customer experience. Makes you feel pretty nice, right? Oh, God, she was so nice. That was very nice of her. Absolutely. Keeping thank you notes with you, absolutely. And the one, I mean, we have some on the store, but you can get them anywhere. I like the branded ones that are open and they're blank and allow you to write whatever, because every circumstance is going to be different. And if you can include a little personal detail, even better. I saw the picture of Bobby with his dog upstairs. God, he's growing up so fast. You never know, right? Any tidbit that you can have to personalize it would be great. Next, while you're at the home, stand somewhere that they might remember and take a video of yourself. And it's a simple message. I wanted to thank you for coming to the open house. If you have any questions about this property or something else we discussed, let me know. And you're going to text that video or social media that video to them directly. That video message goes so much further than a text saying, thanks for coming. So much further. Because they met you in person, that's a recognizable face, they're going to click play and watch that video. I promise you. You will get a response to that much more frequently than you will to a text. Next, follow up with all other contacts that did not provide you a text or a cell phone number or a social media handle by email or phone for the next 7 days. So we are going to spam them. No, I'm kidding. We're going to follow up with them for the next 7 days. And it could be as simple as met you at the open house. There's a new listing in the neighborhood or something you remember, because you're going to write down notes when these people leave. Someone leaves, they signed in, write down a quick note so you can remember something you discussed with them on that sign-in sheet, okay? If you remember anything, use that as your quick hit, either email, text, or phone call for the next 7 days. You're already fresh in their mind, okay? If you're comfortable with video and you had their cell phone number, do another video. Go to another house. Maybe you have another open house. You're doing one next weekend. Text them a video about that open house. Again, showing them you're active, showing them you're a professional, showing them you know what you're doing. Where you can find open houses to use. Properties to use for open houses. Better way to say that. It's called English, Jonathan. Obviously, you can do open houses on your listings. Not everyone has listings. Contact other members of our company to host open houses on their listings. I hate to say this, but every company has realtors whom are lazy and they don't like to host open houses on their own properties. Use that to your advantage, okay? It's a great way, especially a new licensee trying to get in and generate some contacts and some relationships to do that. It makes the listing agent look good to the seller and it helps the other agent. How you can find those company listings? Go on the MLS, search our company office IDs, and call those agents. Or you can join our lovely closed Facebook group, and you can ask on there. See someone post a listing, send them a private message. Don't put it as a comment. Send them a private message. Beautiful listing. I'd love to host an open house for you. In fact, I'd like to do one a month for the next 6 months if it doesn't sell.
On the MLS, I go to the K company to show all the leads. Can I go farther and go by city?
Yes.
On the MLS?
So the question was, if I go in the MLS and search for the K company, 2 things. First off, make sure you're including not only office ID for your MLS, but also the other ones in the area. Which board are you with? You're with Miami. So you're looking at office ID, RALE02. Okay. But but that only covers Miami members. To get the Fort Lauderdale Palm Beach members as well, you need to do 2 different office IDs to be able to see those as well, because they might cover the same area, especially if you're looking like Hollywood at the border of Miami and Broward, where it's about a 50-50 split between associations. A K company agent who's a member of the other board won't show up under your own office in the Miami MLS. It's considered another office. So you'll have to look at that one as well. So I'll give you the office IDs. You ready? I'm going to list 4 of them. Okay. And then I'll have to give you an explanation on that. Okay. RALE02. If you're a Miami member, that's all you need. RALE02. If you're not a Miami member, you'll have to place SEF, like Samuel Edward Frank, in front of it in order to see that one. Correct. That was probably a better explanation, Southeast Florida. Okay, the next one is RALE03. LE03. RALE03. That's also Miami or South Broward. You don't have to put anything else. If you are outside of those, you'll need to list SEF in front of that, like Southeast Florida. Okay. The next one, TKCM, like the K Company Masters. If you're a member of Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, that's all you'll have to list. If you're a member of Miami or South Broward, you'll have to list in front of that FLL, like Fort Lauderdale. FLL. Okay. The last one is 802518. 802518. If you're a member of Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale, that's all you'll have to list. If you're outside of those areas, you'll need to list RML in front of that, like Regional Multiple Listing. Okay? Whew. All right, got it? So if you are searching for office IDs to find company listings, yes, you can call those agents. Call them, ask them. I'd like to host an open house for you. That's one resource. Okay, next one, vacant home listings from other brokers. Do a search on the MLS. Single family, vacant. Call them. I'd like to host an open house for you. They may or may not. Stats are 1 of 10 open houses are hosted from someone by a different company. So if you call 10, 1 might say yes.
What about on the listing where it specifically says okay to advertise yes or no? What about certain tags?
That's
Would probably be most likely willing to let you.
so the okay to advertise part of the MLS is the question. They're more likely to allow you. To my knowledge, unless that's changed recently, only Flex MLS has that still, which is the Palm Beach up there. But yes, you're correct. That would lead me to believe that they are more likely to allow you. But for everybody else, you kind of just have to call and do the legwork.
Jonathan?
Sharon?
So if you're hosting, whether it be for another K company or another agent, and you get somebody who's a buyer, do you, lack of words, do you own that buyer or do you owe something to that agent whose listing you have?
By default, if you haven't signed anything, you do not owe them anything. And there's no such thing as owning a buyer.
Well,
No such thing.
for lack of words, I didn't know what else to.
No, I mean, there's no such thing. Even if, and I'm kind of alluding here to another class, even if you have a buyer brokerage agreement, you don't own that buyer. It does not prohibit another broker or realtor from working with them.
Well, what I meant was so I take Mr. Smith around and he buys something, do I owe anything to the listing agent or anything like that?
Unless you signed a referral, the answer is no.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. FSBOs, for sale by owners. Those are very easy to access. However, They're being called by 10 to 15 realtors every single day. So when they answer the phone, you need to be very strict with the script that you have. Wait, Steve, I don't want to list your house. That's not why I'm calling. I want to help you sell it. Let me host an open house for you. I have a script I'm going to go over in a second. And then developments. D.R. Horton has offered to us that you can host an open house at any of their models. It's one option. That's only one developer. They would love for you to do that and give some additional exposure to their properties. I don't think those are as beneficial as any of the other options, but I put it on there because it is an option. Why not? Why don't I think it's better? Because I just feel that if I'm pulling in as a buyer to a community I'm interested in buying, I'm going to the sales center or I'm going to an open floor model. Your open house would be at their open model, but you're capturing a percentage of the people that go there on that specific day during that specific time. It's not that you're going to capture someone driving by because they always have models open or sales center open or something like that on the street. So it's nothing new. It's not something that is hyped up and exciting. It's not something that's different. You know, they're not driving by the same neighborhood all the time and then they see an open house sign. So they're driving by every day and they see the same thing every day, so they're not really noticing it. So I don't feel that is as impactful as the others. Does that? Whoever came in would be your buyer. That's correct. That doesn't belong to you. Well, no, that's a question, actually. It depends. It depends. So you're talking about at the new development, if a buyer drives by and they're already working with a realtor, but they came through that open house. Any open house. Okay. So you're taking me into procuring cause right now, which is a bit of a unique circumstance and is very subjective depending on the circumstances. So let's say, Tish, you're a buyer and you're working with Deborah, but Deborah wasn't available, so you go to the open house. You see Karen as the agent at the open house. You don't have anyone with you. You're on your own, right? You like Karen, but you're working with Deborah. If you write up the offer with Karen, it's very, very possible that Deborah has no claim on the commission. But it's also possible that if you went back to Deborah, Deborah still will get the commission. It depends, okay? Possession is 9/10 of the law, right? So whoever writes up that contract is in the best position. Morally and ethically, we are supposed to ask them if they're working with a realtor and recommend they contact them. That doesn't always happen, okay? Ethically, by the code of ethics, we're required to simply ask, are you working with a realtor? If they say no, we don't have to be a detective and try and figure out or check their emails or their call logs or anything like that, right? If they say no, we believe it to be true, and that's it. And if they actually want to purchase the house and they're there talking with you, whom they think is the listing agent, you might be the listing agent, they're going to say no. Unfortunately, it's the world we live in. Customers are notoriously not loyal at all. Mm-hmm. The question was, if you're hosting an open house, but you're not the listing agent, and a customer comes in with their realtor and makes an offer, are you entitled to anything? The answer is a big fat no. You're not. Unless you worked on some type of referral with the other agent, but it's highly unlikely. I would say no, you're not. The procuring cause situation is a little bit different, and actually a lot of conflicts regarding procuring cause come up from open houses, in the sense where you were working with Deborah for a long time, but then you went to the open house and you wrote up the offer with Karen. Karen is actually the procuring cause now because she was not available. You attended the open house, and because you attended the open house, you wrote up the contract. So Karen's open house and you attending it actually brought the sale to fruition. Whereas the entire time you were working with Deborah, sorry, Deborah, to call you out on that, But the entire time working with Deborah throughout the way did not lead to the sale of the home. In fact, had you not gone, you would not have bought that house. Buyer brokerage agreements, we have another class for it. I'm very passionate about buyer brokerage agreements. I'm passionate about not using them. The reason I say that is, I'll 10 seconds literally, okay? I don't want to go into this too far. If you sign a buyer brokerage agreement with Deborah and you go buy a house with Karen, Deborah has to sue you in order to get paid. The broker has to sue a member of the public to get paid on that. Karen has no liability to her. It does not mean that you can go to arbitration and get the commission. You will lose. It does not defend that. It allows you to sue the public. And I don't know a broker that will want to do that willingly. I will not.
I know one that will. I won't mention their name.
Yeah, and just by you saying that, you know you get that kind of reputation out of that person. And that's not what you want in the mind of the public. You don't want to make them fearful of signing an agreement with you, especially in our day and age of public and web presence and reviews and publicity, and you don't want that. All you need is for them to go post something and review. This person maybe signed a contract and stole X amount of money and then sued me for $15,000. Is that the kind of publicity you want? No, it's not. And it's certainly not what a broker wants. So I don't like buyer brokerage agreements, but I'm going to stop that because we have a whole nother class on it. And how to kind of make it work to your advantage if you had to. But that's for another class. Okay. If you are going to be calling for sale by owners to try and host an open house, this is a script for you. It's very simple. In a nutshell, this is recorded. You can watch it later, guys. No need to take cell phone pictures. If you'd like a copy of the PowerPoint, I can also send it to you upon request. If you want to request one, shoot me an email. Don't ask me now. FSBO script. Okay. Hi, my name's Jonathan Lickstein with the K Company Realty. You're selling your house, right? But I'm not calling because I want to list your house. That's not why I'm calling. I want to help you. Help me sell your property. No. So let me ask you a few questions. Can you tell me about your house? Are you trying to sell it quickly? Are you trying to move? I don't want to list it, but I need to understand your motivation. Okay. Jonathan, I don't want to tell you. Why do I have to tell you this? Okay, never mind. Here's why I'm asking. Have you had any offers? Have you had any showings? Okay, you've had some showings. That's great. No offers? Okay, I understand. I'm curious. Now, if I brought you a buyer, would you pay me a commission? Yes, of course. Bring anybody by that you want. Bring anybody by that would want to buy my house. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'd like to host an open house for you and publicize and market that for you at no expense to you whatsoever. Let me market your property for you for free. But if I find someone there to buy your home, I'm going to take that commission. You will get more than 50% of the owners that will allow you to do that. And if for sale by owner is something that you're not primarily seeing open houses for, a homeowner is not going to sit there and host their own open house. They might sit there, they might put one sign out front, but they're not really marketing it. So talk to them about what you're going to do different to help get that home sold. And it might turn into a listing, but it might turn into a whole bunch more buyers. And that's the real purpose for us doing it. Create a name for ourselves in the community and bring some buyers through. Open houses are one of the least expensive methods that we can create buyer leads. Sound like it makes sense? That is all I have for you today. Now go out, do some open houses, and generate some buyer leads.
Great job, Jonathan. Thank you.
You're welcome. What?